Deep cut Masters of the Universe Mattel Creations figures were announced, and we go deep on a Masterverse wish list with special guest AJ from Eternia.com right now on Toy Habits Live. And before we go live, smash that like button, turn on notifications, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a beat. Hey everyone, welcome back to Toy Habits Live. I'm Michael, and joining us this week, please give a huge Toy Habits welcome to AJ, who runs the Eternia.com website. We are thrilled to have you here. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing okay, and I thank you for inviting me, Michael. I'm thinking finally these great two MOTU geniuses have united in one show, finally, for all of us to see. Yeah. Actually, I'm the furthest thing you could get from a genius. I'm sure there's a lot more geniuses out in your audience, but I'm happy to be here.
That's great. Yeah, we've been chatting for a bit, and yeah, it's always great to have other folks that share the passion for MOTU that we have, and we're all one huge MOTU community. So I think it's amazing, and we have a fun show cooked up for you all today. And before we dive in, just wanted to give a quick hello to who is in the chat right now. We have Dominic's Life's Coda. Pride of Grayskull is in the house. He is one of our crew members. Hey, Bash Studios, All Music Fan. Let's see, Clint Jorgensen, who is also one of our Toy Habits crew members. Derek Giraffe, who is funny as all get out, another crew member. Payne's Toy Samples, another crew member. Van Ratliff, and apologies for butchering anyone's name. Don't mean it. It's just hard to read these and keep up. Emerald Knight Photos takes amazing photographies on Instagram, so follow his Instagram channel at Emerald Knight Photos. Lost It to Bostic, Jeremy Cole. Yeah, and you'll probably recognize a lot of these names.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, John and I almost converse every day from Emerald Knight Photos. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah, I mean, it's like this, the whole community is so it's very small, it's very tight knit, and it's great that everybody knows each other. All right, we got Princeton and also Christian Miller in the house. What is up? And all right, just wanted to also just send a special shout out to our Toy Habits crew members, and you know who you are. We love you very much, and thank you so much for the support. And before we dive in any further, I just wanted to make mention that the Toy Sorceress is off on her adventures with her husband, Mr. Toy Sorceress, celebrating their anniversary.
Wait. Is that Grizzler?
Yeah, right.
She's with Grizzler.
It's so funny because she's obviously in a mountainous area in California, and she was like, oh, there's also a collectible shop here, and I was like, that's awesome. So she was
is that Sasquatch or something like that?
It's like a Yeti.
I was thinking she's married to Grizzler. That's awesome.
I know, right? But yeah, we do have proof of life of the Toy Sorceress, and she did make it to her destination, but this is not really what I pictured Trala to be, but we'll just go with it. But dang, we got a whopper of some news drops yesterday, with the announcement of the Masterverse, new Eternia Vykron, and then two other characters coming to the line, Fang-Or and Lady Slither. And it looks like Mattel sent out a blast to toy tubers who are under NDA, like Toy Shiz and Geek Dad Life and adultcollector.org, which I first saw this on. And just wanted to also give a special shout out to Toy Hunters Hollow for the heads up. But the new Eternia Vykron in the Masterverse line, Fang-Or and Lady Slither from the Origins line were announced as Mattel Creations figures. What do you think of these, AJ?
I think they're fantastic. First, I just want to caveat, guys, that before we continue, I want to warn you, I'm in severe sinus pain going on, and I'm highly medicated. So if I fall asleep at any time, or start talking Thundercats or accidentally call Michael Mega J. I apologize in advance, so I'm going to rely on this intelligent man to carry me through. What do I think? What a surprise, huh?
Yeah.
Especially Vikron. I mean, everyone knows I'm a Masterverse guy. I have this like Masterverse die-cast metal sword from the 40th anniversary around my neck. I was really surprised that Vikron was coming out so soon. I mean, we don't even have a Panther yet, and here we have a Vikron. But in regards to the Origins lines, man, especially Lady Slither, people have been waiting for that one for a long time. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's like they're starting to go very like deep cut with these, especially just like with all of these announcements, like especially Vikron, who was never, wasn't really in the lore, but he's a nod to the, to the original design of He-Man. Of course, Fang-Or has been a fan favorite, and there was a picture of Fang-Or that was leaked, but we were asked to take that image down, and we always respect that. If anyone asks us to take anything down who doesn't want it on the site, that was totally cool. But so
everyone knows this is not the actual figures.
Right.
This is Vikron. Here's the classics, and then is that a classics Fang-Or? I think so.
It is a classics Fang-Or, and then the Lady Slither is a custom. So there's a ton of talented folks out there who, they're like, okay, Lady Slither is in the lore, let's make her into a figure based on what we think she would look like. And
I wish I had that talent, Michael.
I know.
I do a little customization, a little paint here, and like I'll lift someone's neck up as a make more sense in Origins. Yeah.
I was thinking too, like I think a lot of people want they also want these Masterverse figures in Origins too, and I think it would have been actually really neat to get an Origins release of this too, because Vikron is a nod to the vintage Masters of the Universe line, and so originally it would have been that scale of a figure in like Origin scale. So
yeah, sure is.
But yeah, the just really interesting details that also came out if you are also reading between the lines. And so the Lady Slither, so all of these figures are going to be Mattel Creations exclusives, and Lady Slither has a go live date of September and also a pre-sale date of September. But it's just really interesting to see some of the information that they're sending to these toy tubers that are announcing these figures. So a couple of things. So Lady Slither does have a human form and a snake form, and it'd be really I want to get your thoughts on this too, because we haven't really had a deluxe Origins Mattel Creations figure before. So I'm wondering how they're going to package this and like what it's going to look like, because there's a lot of stuff potentially to fit on like a single blister card.
So do you think it's actually going to come with both sets? When I read that before, I was like, it sounds like it, but they're mentioning the art, so I wasn't sure if it's coming with the 2 legs and the snake bottom.
It says like, I guess, it says on the card back, they'll have her in her human form, and then in parentheses featuring her interchangeable human legs. And so I think that tells me that they are going to produce that maybe snake bottom for her. Which actually is interesting because there's another character that was teased, and I think it's also mentioned here. It was teased on Koldar's card art. There was a red snake man that doesn't have a name right now. It's interesting, but it has that snake bottom to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to package it, but I love the look. I collect everything Masterverse, only Origins here and there, but yes. Her I'm definitely interested in. I've always liked the Gorgon, Medusa, right? And there's and actually there's a lot of people talking about customization that have taken Medusa figures and created Lady Slither. So I've always loved this design, so I'm definitely interested in this one. And I think, is that a soft goods cape? Or is
this one? I think I think it looks like a hard cape, but again, like, you
I
know,
know it's not the real.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know.
That would be
But
neat if she came with a soft goods cape, though.
yeah, but if it's going to be like a deluxe, maybe it's going to come with a soft goods cape as well, you know?
Yeah, I would love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was somebody else saying that, oh, lost it to Bostic, maybe Slither will be
Mm.
packed like Mossman. Yeah, I think that would be great. You know,
Didn't they mention
Mossman.
the type of packaging, if I recall?
Sorry, did they mention the type on
Elegant,
here?
elegant slip cover, right?
Ooh, possibly. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting. It's like
Yeah.
what the heck is this box gonna look like?
So
I love it.
it slips off, and we have something in between. I wonder if it's going to be that environmentally friendly packaging that we
Mm.
got with Darklyn. You know,
Oh, maybe.
was
Yeah,
that a slip
that's
cover?
definitely a possibility. Yeah, they
Mm.
that yeah, the actually that would be neat because that would give a lot of room for like teasers and all these things that they put on the box instead of
Yeah,
just showing off the figure.
but technically, and remember, I'm medicated. This is not a slip cover, so I guess like the Mondo She-Ra and stuff like that
Mhm.
have that slip cover, but this isn't. This just opens up. So, yeah, I'm not sure what it's going to look like. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. But really exciting that she is coming to the line. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
it's another one, Origins, and then we'll get off the Origins kick is Fang-Or. And it's funny. I actually pictured both Fang-Or and Lady Slither being more of a like Masterverse material than Origins material.
Yeah, and if I recall, there was a lot of who was the designer? Axel Jimenez, I
Yep.
think.
Mhm.
And he designed a lot of these characters, but this one, of course, was produced by Classics, which we're looking at here. But the Lady Slither and others, I guess, were like featured back in the day in the Classics. I collected some Classics, like I have
Mhm.
Granomir. I have a lot of the Filmation Classics, you know, He-Man, Skeletor, Beastman, Merman, stuff like that. But I picked and choose. I don't recall the mini comics, but hello. But they, if I recall, he had a lot of designs that they were going to make into Classics figures, but never did.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but this one they did, and this one I really like the look. If I recall, it had some crazy lore that I think in the Classics bio it can actually shoot its fangs out, like
That's awesome.
like knives, and then it would regrow, you know. So I don't know if he arches his head back and they like fire out like missiles. I mean, they didn't actually do that with the figure, but that was the idea behind the character, and then he could just regrow them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, otherwise, how do you eat like that?
Yeah, I have no clue. Yeah, the fangs would definitely get in the way of any type of eating. But I guess if you're sucking blood or injecting
Oh,
venom, then
yeah.
it serves its purpose. But yeah, an interesting comment from Pride of Grayskull, who is also a Masterverse collector. He's been wondering if when the Snake Man will be introduced in Masterverse, and I was wondering myself too.
Yeah.
It's like, when are they going to drop that first figure?
Yeah, well, I think they have to. That's a good question. And I guess it also applies to what's going to happen in Revelation, right?
Hmm.
Because if we're going to see some Snake Men in Masters of the Universe Revelation, I think they're going to hold that off. I mean, I know they do duplicates in Masterverse, but it just might be some sort of plan. But like I said, we still haven't seen a Panther yet, and they have the body of Battle Cat. You know, it's not like
Yeah.
they really have to engineer that much. But
No, it's and also too, like just thinking back to the Revelation series, there were so many characters that were introduced in I think the second part of that series,
yeah,
and it's like we still haven't seen any of those either, and it's like where the heck are they?
yeah, it's really weird how they're like laying them all out. You only eat there you go. You
Giraffe is
know,
hilarious.
and what's cool about him is, if I recall, he's like a mechanic, and that's why he's holding
Yeah.
those tools. You know, he's got his hammer and he's got his wrench, and hopefully with the origin, I think he comes with a sword too. But hopefully with the Origins figure, you know, he comes with some tools. you know, because that's the way I would display him. Forget the sword. I want him like working on the Wind Raider or something.
I know,
like
right?
that.
Yeah, he's one of the kooky. He's like the Snake Man mechanic or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
so freaking weird. It's like,
but I love weird, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, MOTU is weird. Well,
yes,
to some degree, I love weird. There are some characters a little way out there, but
yeah. I do recall, however, in that leaked image that we were asked to take down, they did have, I think, on the table they did have a tool of some sort that looked like it was a produced accessory for Fang-Or. So I'm guessing that he'll come maybe with not the whole set of tools that he came with, but I mean, if he came with like a toolbox or something to keep it in, but I don't know.
By the way, I love your leaked images. Of course, of course, I guess, you know, I've seen like a lot of free whiplashes going out to different like YouTube channels and stuff like that. Probably with your leaked images, you know, you might never be on the selection committee of getting free whiplash.
I know, right? I think too, like, I don't know. I'm under the impression that like I don't want to actually be under NDA, you know, with Mattel. I think it's actually more fun to be on this side and like speculate and just kind of see what we could come up with. But you know, there's room for the official stuff and the leak stuff in the whole MOTU universe. So we're just kind of playing that side for now.
Yeah, and I don't think they like, to a lesser degree, I just harp on their bios. Every time they get a bio wrong, like a misspelling or a grammar, I'm like, come on, guys, it's only three sentences, 60 words, you know, and I give them a hard time, you know, because I could do it for free for you guys, you know,
right.
And obviously someone's being paid for that, and so I don't think I'll ever see anything either. But you're right, maybe it is better to be on this side.
Yeah, I don't. I think it's more fun.
Yeah.
But oh yeah. So Ian, 2800. It's always more fun to be on the free toy side.
He's got a point.
He does have a point, and I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jealous, but you know.
Yeah, and
but if anybody that they sell, or if anything that Mattel sends you out there, toy tubers, or get this free stuff and you don't want it, you don't collect Masterverse, just DM me, send it over here. Be happy to see it and welcome it.
Yeah, I've had some people help me out, but otherwise, especially if you want to get it early. I'm good friends with the RJ, the man-child. And we've had that conversation, you know, like, well, if you really want to get that figure early, I mean, sometimes like the eBay prices are like ridiculous.
It's horrible.
Oh yeah, it's insane. And you know, Paul Mart store used to be a method, but now everyone knows about Paul Mart. So it's like, you know, that can like sell out in like 10 seconds. So so I've just resigned to, you know, not being first, unfortunately, or second or third.
I know it makes it hard for, you know, channels like us who like to do toy reviews and things like that. But it's like, if the market is saturated with reviews, it's like, I don't know if I want to spend the time to do it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. If I ever stop enjoying them, I think I'll stop, you know. So but I won't put the pressure of like putting on a schedule or something like that. So
yes. All right. We're going to move on to some of the Masterverse news, and we want to thank Toy Habits crew member Allison Troy for always keeping us on our toes with Mattel's trademark renewals. And so she recently started her own YouTube channel called Retro Toy Princess, so go check her out. And so she basically sent us this last week and said, hey, Mattel was filing a trademark renewal for Vikron, which, you know, to us means one of two things. Like, they don't want to lose their trademark like they did with the Road Ripper and call it something else. Or it means that we have another release of a figure coming down the line. And that was the case. And so we had, Vikron announced yesterday, and it's the new Eternia version, which actually makes sense because he's basically the figure that inspired He-Man.
Yep. We originally got him from, I think, Classics as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, but it was Mattel designer Roger Sweet. You know, he proposed that He-Man was really a toy system, because he created like 3 mock-ups what is it, tank head and
Yeah.
bullet head, and which was Boba Fett's head. Come on, I want to call him Boba Fett head, not bullet head. And then Barbarian He-Man in the middle, and it was a toy system. The idea, I think, was for He-Man to actually to be able to change his outfits,
Yes.
and look like this spaceman and look like this military man. And I guess Mattel said, move that one to the side, move that one to the side. We want that Barbarian He-Man right in the middle, And then the legend was born. Well, there was a little more to it, but He-Man was born, but he looked kind of ridiculous looking.
He did.
I mean, he still actually looks like it in this classic rendition. He looks like he's wearing a goblet on his head.
Yeah. I'm finished with my beer. I must put it back on my head.
It's actually very practical, right?
It is.
If you're a big beer drinker, you just wear the thing on your head, and when you're ready, you just take it off and have a drink. But yeah, so Michael, were you surprised that this was announced?
So I was hoping it would be announced because we heard from sources that it was coming to the line. But I think when I heard that from our source, I was actually super surprised that they would actually go and remake this figure, because it was out in classics. But I'm thinking, maybe if they did, it would have to be some sort of Mattel Creations thing. I couldn't see this as a standard release because it's such an obscure character. And you're right, like the space suit is totally ridiculous. I think Jay from Pride of Grayskull is calling this the poor man's Boba Fett, and actually I think I did a short little video on the trademark renewal and called him like He Mandalorian or something. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, I was surprised.
The spacesuit, I mean, hopefully this isn't going too far. He's the only one really. Well, look at that cod piece, the cod armor. He's the only one really worried about protecting that part of his body.
You got to protect the jewels, right? Come on.
The other two, not so much. But,
yeah, right.
The space one, yeah, he is kind of ridiculous. I mean, but we're MOTU fans. We love the ridiculous.
Chip and Dale's Boba Fett. All right. Yeah, and it's funny because I have all of these, pieces of Vikron just kind of sitting around here. And yeah, I when I dumped out all the pieces to do this photo shoot, I was like, wow, this looks either like a really cool piece of armor for the family jewels. And it kind of reminds me of like a sumo wrestler's diaper too, or like
yeah, you're right. You're right.
But
look at the okay. Yeah, that's right. And I wonder, the classics head did something funny where you could remove the hair and the drinking goblet, and then here you go. Yeah, look at that head. I mean, I wonder if Masterverse is going to give us 3 heads, because do you really need a head underneath the tank head? I get the helmeted head, right?
Yeah.
But the tank turret, I understand there's eye holes there, but it could just be painted on. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not. Oh, jeez. the cod piece hides the second horn. So funny.
I'm not gonna
where's Silver K when we need her? But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see like how they do all of these parts and all of these pieces. And I guess if it's a Mattel Creations exclusive, they'll probably come, maybe packed like, similar style to this, right? And I think if I remember correctly, back in the day, they would actually rotate who was in the middle. And so it was kind of a crapshoot who would be the center of attention, whether it's the barbarian, the space one, or the tank one.
I'm not 100% sure. You're absolutely right about it rotating, or at least by my memory, but I'm not 100% sure. But I believe the one at the SDCC at San Diego Comic-Con had Vikron, the barbarian look in the middle.
Oh, that would make sense.
And then if you bought it elsewhere, it would either be, spaceman or military man in the middle. But, that had the craziest bio. I didn't buy it, but I remember the bio because he was like a gladiator fighter.
Yes.
And he would like battle people and then learn their battling skills and like and maybe collect their armor, and maybe that's why he has all these different armor suits. But he was in this gladiator arena until he fought Gygor.
Yes.
And Gygor ripped his body in half. Yeah, exactly. Right down the middle, right down the codpiece.
Yeah.
And he's dead. And yeah. And where does that happen in MOTU? Maybe that's happened in other bios. I'm not a classics expert, but I do know that one. And that was just made me laugh. I mean, that's not supposed to happen in MOTU.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I recently collabed on a like history of Vikron video with Ken from Toy Connections, and part of my part in that was describing Vikron's bio. And yeah, it was basically he met his gruesome demise by getting ripped in half by Gygor. It's like somebody's got to make an animation out of that one.
I guess the idea is we're tossing up, we're ripping apart that concept art, right? Nope, we're not doing it this way. He looks too much like Conan, but still, it can't. I mean, we have Fang-Or, we have all these other people. Why can't Vikron survive in one way or another? But whatever.
But interesting thing, if so, he's actually the first one out of these three to go on sale pretty soon. So the go live date for this one is May 31st, and the pre-sale date is June 6th, which is D-Day. If you remember your World War II history.
I do not. I rely on you, sir.
That's one of my other passions too, besides collecting toys, is military history. But yeah, really excited to get this figure. You know, I guess since I have it, it'll be interesting to see like what the differences are between the classics version and the Masterverse version. But always happy to get new figures.
I missed who brought it up, but someone said, guessing on the price, $60 or $70. I hope it's not that high, right? I mean,
that was Mr. Vex Doppel. Hello, my friend.
Maybe. What do you think?
Who knows, right? Yeah.
Well, how much was Darklyn? What was that?
Darklyn was what, like $32.99 or something like that.
Maybe a little more.
Possibly. I'm hoping like $44.99, something like that. I mean, I guess they have to make all new armor pieces and things like that, but they have a million He-Man bucks that they're lying around, probably collecting dust that they could use for this. And so it's not going to cost them a lot of money to do this.
Yeah, and the Man-at-Arms 2.0 on Masterverse came with a lot of stuff, and that was just like deluxe pricing, and it came with soft goods. So maybe, just maybe, it won't be that high. Hopefully it won't be 60 and 70 range. Hopefully it'll cap at 50 at most, $49.99.
Yeah,
over at 50 easy, says Pride of Grayskull.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, he could be Rev or New Eternia. I think he's spec'd out to be New Eternia. So be interesting to see if he shows up I don't think he'll show up in the Revolution cartoon or the Revolution series, but anyway.
Yeah.
Bash Studios, Michael, you and Tankhead should talk about the history together. Yes, I'll happily talk about military history with my Tankhead. So maybe I'll do that after the stream.
You know, you never know though. We're going to get a lot of Preternia and Masters of the Universe Revolution. So, and I
hope so.
It's a whole different lore. Well, I think they confirmed that during the remember when Eternia was crowdfunding, and they came out with that video, and Rob David came on, and he was like, you know, the Eternia playset, which I pre-ordered, not only, you know, sizes well with Origins, of course, it's meant for Origins, but it sizes well with Masterverse. And, you know, and then he gave us the drop that you're going to see a lot of Preternia or Eternia as Preternia in Masters of the Universe Revolution. So,
oh, that's fantastic. I did not catch that, so that's awesome.
Yeah, he was trying to lure all the Revelation, soon to be Revolution fans, you know, buy this too, you know?
Yeah. Oh, so. Totally. Yeah. And I think that's actually a good segue into our next topic, so we're going to be going over a Masters of the Universe Masterverse wish list. And so, you know, the Origins line is pumping out all of these characters. And so it's like, what else would we want to see in this Masterverse line? But before we get to that, just wanted to cover off on some very interesting news. I actually watched your video on this as well, just Meg Foster being cast for the Masters of the Universe Revolution series as Motherboard. Now, who the heck is Motherboard?
What do you mean? Who the heck is Motherboard?
It's a rhetorical question.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering who's going to be announced on Father's Day, you know?
Oh, right. Yeah, you were saying that too, right?
But I love this casting. I mean, anyone who watches my channel knows I'm a huge fan of Masters of the Universe, the 1987 live action film. I have such a soft spot for it. I didn't like it as a kid. I went to the theater. I'm going to show my age as a kid to watch.
Same age.
Okay. Yeah. When I had Eamon O'Donoghue, the Masterverse artist, on my podcast, he was like, everyone who listens to your podcast was born in the 70s or the 80s, you know? And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Most of it, you know, most of them at least probably I would guess 85%. But so I didn't like Masters of the Universe, you know, because it didn't take place on Eternia. I didn't like Julie, and there was no Battle Cat, and there was no Prince Adam, and you know, there was so much that was different from the Filmation show.
Yeah,
and they didn't even have the villains I liked. Beastman, he didn't look like Beastman, but where was, you know, and they had Evelyn, of course, which we're going to talk about in a second. But so I was so disappointed, but later it grew on me, and I realized that Masters of the Universe strength is all its iterations. And, you know, from the mini comics to the Filmation to 2000X to the Eternia War comics to the new CG show to Revelation to this movie, that's its strength. What kind of IP has so many iterations that are so beloved? New adventures, right? Yep. It's such a fantastic, marvelous thing that we can say, you know, you see other fandoms, and I've been in other fandoms. Well, they'll argue, you know, that's not right. That's not canon, right? But we don't have a canon. I mean, we have canon within these separate iterations, but there is no canon across the board. And there's just something for everyone. And it's just marvelous. And so I love this movie, and she is great. And not just her eyes, because she was great as Evil Lynn, and her eyes project this idea like there's sorcery behind those eyes. You know, there was no special effects needed with those eyes. You know, she looked like a great Evil Lynn. But if you close your eyes, her voice is very soulful and strong. And I don't know, I could just imagine that coming out of that 15-foot motherboard, you know, and go ahead.
No, I couldn't agree with you more. Like the lore and the canon it's evolving, and it's being added to, and it's being, you know, created, recreated, and spun in so many different directions. I really love it. And, you know, I really didn't know what to think about the Motherboard part of the Revelation series. I know that it's polarizing for people because it's new, right? But so I think it was, you know, it was interesting because, like, you don't really know much about, like, the techno cult and that side of it. And so it sounds like we're going to get a little deeper into that techno cult. And I remember watching this video on your channel, you were like, take a look at the Revolution logo too, and like how it's infused with like that technology. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, I love it. It's got this like schematic look to it, and it looks like electronics, and it's so much better than the previous. I think it was just red letters or something like that. And and I love it, and I couldn't be more excited. And I know this is probably going to end up being, God, I hate the whole Motherboard thing. Well, hey, look, you know,
right. Like I said, it's polarizing, right? And I have to say this every time. Unicron's left nut is my favorite user ID on YouTube, like ever. So,
well, you know what? There's, like I said, there's so many iterations of MOTU. I happen to love Masters of the Universe Revelation. I have it on my shirt here, so unabashedly, it's actually what kicked off my website for Eternia.com, is the existence of Masters of the Universe Revelation, and where I didn't have a place. You pick whatever. I didn't really have a place on, you know, to go. I don't want to use this word, safe space.
Okay.
but you know, fans really didn't have a place to really celebrate the show. And I think there was a large, I'll be honest with you, I think it was the silent majority, because I think most people are like me. They like something, and if something, go to a Facebook page and it's getting punched and punched, I'm not going to sit there and argue with people. I'm just
Right.
I'm just not going to go to that website anymore.
Right.
You know, it's funny. It's like part two, right? People will point to me in part two and say, look, man, 39% critics, 92% audience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 92% critics positive, but they'll say, look, man, 39% critics say this sucks. And then you look at the count, it's 1,000 reviews. And, think 1,000 people, on across the US. And we went on He-Man.org on the positivity thread, I think, like a year or two ago, or I guess back in 2021. And we were looking at some of those accounts, and some of those accounts, a lot of those accounts only had one review. They created a Rotten Tomatoes account and gave it a negative review, and because you could click on a name and see what else they did, and there was nothing else.
Yeah.
And that is, I got nothing but love for anyone who doesn't like the show. Not everyone's going to like everything, but I don't think the suggestion that, hey, you're not a fan, or the majority of people hated it, I think is accurate. I've been a fan. I was a fan since a kid. I had this vintage choice in 1982. I watched the Filmation show when I was a little kid. I got the DVD sets and stuff like that. So I was a huge fan, and I love this show, and I love this, but and I respect anyone who doesn't like it, as long as they come at it with reasonable, hey, I didn't like the story, I didn't like where it went, but the whole Meg Foster's evilness was one of the best parts of the movie. Plus, she was in They Live too. Yes, she was. And she backstabbed, what was his name? Not Ronnie Dangerfield, Roddy Piper.
Roddy Piper.
Yeah. I didn't see it coming. I thought they were going to be on the same side, because she wasn't an alien. She was a human. And she backstabbed him. But I digress. I know I went off the handle here, but
it's all good.
But I'm excited.
It's all related.
I'm excited about her, and I hope we get a Motherboard figure. Now, I've been wondering, because she's 15 feet tall, right?
Yeah.
I've been wondering if in Revolution they're going to size her down to interact with other characters. And I was thinking it'd be neat if she released a reconfigured portion of herself into Motherboard, and the remainder of her becomes like this sentry unit, right?
Ooh.
This guard unit. And then she can interact with Skeletor and Hordak and all these people. And we can have a sizable Masterverse figure of her, on her shelf with the other Masterverse figures. And then if I go one step further, sorry guys, if I'm talking a mile a minute, if I go one step further, we do know that, I don't know if you're a fan of 6 scale. Michael, are you? Okay. So Mondo confirmed that they're making more animated Revelation style figures. Well, Mondo confirmed through through Pixel Dan, but they confirmed they're coming out. Imagine if they made a Motherboard that would actually size well. Till needs to ask Transformers. Yeah, that would be cool. That would actually, a Mondo 6 scale would actually size well with the Masterverse figures as the tall version, So I don't know. That's just a pipe dream, though. So
no, I really hope you have an interesting theory. I didn't even think about like the kind of carving out a portion of her, and into more of a regular size. I was like, oh Christ, how are they gonna make this figure? Like, it's gonna be huge. But maybe it's they are making different scale figures, like Too Bad, Beastman, and like Whiplash. They're all different sizes, like they're massive, but I could totally see this Motherboard character towering over those.
Yeah, but I would imagine, I mean, when you get an actress like this, right, she's not going to have 1 or 2 lines. So I know she's going to be, I mean, it's possible they keep her this large. I really don't know. But it was just an idea in my head that possibly, this will occur, but who knows? But I'm just excited that she's playing. And now what I'm hoping for, guys, because we know William Shatner is not playing Hordak. Zodak, maybe? We'll see. Granomir? We'll see. Frank Langella, I want announced on Father's Day as Hordak.
Oh, geez.
Could you imagine that?
That'd be amazing. And just like getting more of the Horde, or even like, I don't know, if you delve into the Horde, it makes me think too, like the Princess of Power line too. It's like, when are they going to show up? Maybe never, but
yeah. You have, what do you mean, in the show itself?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprised that, you know, like at the end of like part 2, like Hordak, you know, comes along, or you know, reference to Hordak as well. So I mean, I guess they could be throwing anyone in here, but
well, I guess Hordak was originally what, a Masters of the Universe villain, right? Even though, you know, like Hordak was only in one mini comic of She-Ra's, and then Catra was the villain in the rest of the mini comics. But when Hordak was released for Masters of the Universe, it was in the Master in the Universe blister pack, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, it wasn't in the pop card back.
Yeah, with the red exploding. So it kind of like straddled both, you know, and I think it was on the Filmation side, which has become DreamWorks, and it's on the, so I think they have multiple use of that character, shared use. But unfortunately, they just can't bring her twin in, you know, and it's really a shame because you know, in Masters of the well, it was in San Diego Comic-Con where Kevin Smith said, you know, he was talking about Revolution, and he's like, this is the new name, and you have Revelation and you have Revolution, and you probably by those two names can tell that what the third name would be, the third chapter, the third book. And first I was like, whoa, I'm excited, because this tells me you already have a third chapter in mind, you know. And my brain immediately jumped and said, well, they announced 5 episodes for Revolution. Could they be doing another 5, just like Revelation, a full 10? But that will be something else that they're just, you know, they're waiting to announce, because it's not going to be part 1 and part 2. Who knows, right? But in regards to the names, it's like, he's like, you could probably figure out the name. And I'm like, you know, Revolution, you know, Revelation, could it be Redemption, or Retribution, or
all the R words?
Yeah. But then someone came out, I forget who, could have been Jay, I don't know who said, someone said to me, it could be Reunion, and you could have She-Ra come back. And I was like, whoa,
that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. But unfortunately, I don't think the rights would allow that, Michael.
Probably not.
No. Kevin Smith even came out about it like a year ago, and I put it on Eternia.com, where he said, we just can't use it. You know, someone point blank asked, he said, Hordak is teased. If you make another one, does that mean She-Ra? He said, no.
No, bummer. All right.
Yeah.
Fine. But yeah, I agree with Chris Allen. Yeah, the more MOTU, the better. Like, actually, I really love the Revelation series, and you know, if you take it for what it's worth, it's a really good show. It's got a really good storyline, a lot of really cool figures that were teased in Revelation, but were never produced. Things like that. So, but yeah, maybe we'll dive into our Masterverse wish list now. And I think the first figure that was on my list was Mechanic. And of course, these are not anything made by the Masterverse line. These are customs that I was just trolling around the internet trying to find, to see who had done a really interesting version of Mechanic. And I think a lot of these come from inspiration from the 2000X series, especially with the windy neck on Mechanic. And I would actually really love this figure. He was a very cool figure in Origins, and I would love to see him in that Masterverse 6 scale, just to see what they would do. You know, they have the armor from Fang-Or that they could reuse, and you know, they have some, you know, some tooling that's already been done for Mechanic, but really would be amazing to see.
You know, I remember the classics version was just a straight neck, but like it gave you 2 pieces, and you could like stack them on top of each other, where you can make it like 7.
So it's huge.
I'm with you, Joe. You can make it like 7 inches tall or something like that. everyone's gonna hate me in the comments, but I wasn't really a fan of Mechanic as a kid. You know, but look, I want to fall in love with Mechanic. I do. I honestly do. And I think something like this custom figure here can make it happen, you know. So you know, I mean, I love the twisty neck, and I know that's from 2000X, but I love this, yeah, I love this whole look of the middle picture here when his head's down like that. Yeah. What's going on the right side? I'm not sure.
So it was interesting. Like I've always wondered what is under Mechanek's you know, goggles and also his helmet too. And so I was looking around and somebody had made a version of Mechaneck where you can actually take off his helmet, and it basically, it's kind of exposing, you know, wires going into his brain and things like that. So you know, he is part mechanical, and so I thought that'd be an interesting twist on this character that, you know, we've seen for so many years. It's like being able to remove that and maybe expose what's underneath would be an interesting concept.
You know, I've always been a Filmation guy, and the way it happened in Filmation was there was a storm. He had a son, and there was a storm, and he it's funny. He still had those like goggles, and he still had like a robot voice, even though he wasn't Mechanic yet. But there was like a big hurricane, and he lets his son gets like washed away with the wind, and the wind actually hurts him, and he like breaks his neck or something like that. And then Man at Arms gives him this mechanical neck. It was a silly story, but you know, it was Filmation. But I would definitely love to see what they would produce. Mechanic is one of those rare figures. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I used to have a Mechanic as a kid, the vintage toy, and you go roof, roof, roof,
Yep.
roof, up, down, up, down. But as a kid, as I'm doing this, I'm like, what am I doing this? You know, I mean, there were so many. Ram Man too was kind of the same thing. I was like, you know, all right, there's Mechanic. I'm gonna put him over there. I'll play with some of the cooler figures. It was, yeah, that's true. That's true. But you know what? Mattel, Masterverse, they have the ability to make me fall in love again, right? To make me fall in love with Mechanic. You know, Mattel, sweep me off my feet. Do something really cool like this, and you know, I'll fall in love.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I think Mechanic holds a special place in my heart because it's Mechanic and Whiplash that my parents never got rid of. So they got rid of all of my toys except for like this bag of toys that they kept for some reason for so long. And I recently went back, and you know, of course there's Mechanic and Whiplash, the ones that were bought for me as a kid. And so that he holds a special place in my heart. But actually, I really don't remember playing with Mechanic, to be honest, but I just thought he was a cool character.
You know, the only vintage toy I currently have is Webstor. He was my favorite character. I had everything, and I was saving everything. And how do I say this without having to explain the story?
It's okay, you can explain it.
Okay, all right. I didn't want to take the time. Okay, so
No,
technically good. I lost it during a flood, but it's not the way you think. I was a young guy. 1999, Hurricane Floyd. I was in a rental place, and I stayed in the house, and there was all these like torrential rainstorms and stuff like that, and a flood started occurring, and the water started raising and going higher, 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 and I never thought something like this would happen in Jersey. This is me in New Jersey. And the water kept going higher and higher. And to make it short, to make it a shorter story, I was rescued from my second floor window by a police boat. And to give you an idea how high the water was, we would be in a police boat, and it would go heads up, and we'd have to like crunch down and duck under the power lines. So that's how high the water was. And it was so surreal, and it was nighttime, and you hear all this screaming. Unfortunately, a few people died, and a lot of animals died, Michael. It was so sad.
Oh, that's horrible.
Yeah. And the thing is, when we're on this police boat, you know, we're rescuing people, and they're like, can I bring my dog? Can I bring my dog? But the, I need to find that story out. you know, can I bring my dog? And the police officer, you know, running the boat is like, no, you can't bring your dog. And I get why. It's scared. It could bite, you know, the rest of the passengers, you know, but still, so there were so many pets behind, and they drowned. Yeah. So it was a rough night, and it declared martial law, and they put me in a shelter. And then 3 days later, the water recessed, and the cops were like, and the military was like, okay, you got 8 hours to check out your stuff, you know, and if you see a red X on your door, your building's condemned. It might fall over at any minute. You can't even go in to see if you can salvage anything. And luckily, I got to my the place where we were renting, and there was no red X, so I was able to go in there, and so much stuff was ruined. But fortunately, my MOTU stuff, among some other stuff, was high up on a second floor closet, and it was fine. And you know, and the idea was I was going to save those, maybe if I had a son or a daughter that wanted to get into that, you know, those toys, and I could show them, you know, I could share that with them. But so long story short, some people started. I had 24 hours. Luckily, look, we didn't own that house. We only rented. So people who owned their homes and was submerged, they were stuck and they were in bad news. But luckily, being a renter, I was able to walk away. So I was very fortunate. But because I was a renter, I had to get rid of all the stuff. I at least had to get everything out of the house. Submerged couch, get it out. Everything submerged, either trash it, but you got to empty it out. So I emptied it out. And there were some people that volunteered to help. And there was this one guy named Ralph. I never knew him before, friend of a friend, and I've never seen him since. And during the day, he was like looking at my vintage MOTU collection, and he was marveling at all the stuff I had. And I don't think he had as much as a kid. I think he came from a poor neighborhood and stuff like that. And he was just so interested in all the items. Oh, I wanted that. And oh, I wanted that. Well, okay. So I went ahead and got my stuff out, and then we junked everything and got stuff into a storage facility, whatever was salvageable. And it's like midnight, and there's Ralph. And I said, Ralph, I want you to have my MOTU collection. And he's like, what? And I'm like, you were a big help. I don't know you. You did this out of the kindness of your heart. It's the best thing that I can do to repay you. So, you know, after some resisting, he took everything, and I miss it, but it was the best thing I could ever do. And you know, I thought about once in a while, like, oh, maybe I'll rechase those, you know, on eBay or something like that. But I was like, you know what, AJ, just get your favorite figure, which was Webstor. Just get one. And I have Webstor behind me here. And so yeah, so sorry for the long sad story, but that's why I don't have my vintage figures.
It's part of your history and what, you know, goes into making who you are today. So yes. Yeah.
But thank you, Ralph. Maybe you're out there, Ralph. You know, and if you're watching, hit me up, man. I appreciate you. Because I never talked to the guy again or saw him again.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah. But are you excited that Webstor is coming to the Masterverse line then?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I wish he was a little more beefy, but I am liking what I see. You know, I love the classics. I have the classics Webstor, which is that mix of. I'm not a huge fan of the 2000X, but I like the appendages. You know,
yeah.
So it was more of the classic figure design with the appendages, and I just love the mixing of the two. The vintage figure. No, I honestly don't. You know, it's it's rare that you meet people. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Neil. It's rare that you meet people that do such acts of kindness, you know, and you know, if maybe one day I can be as good as Ralph, you know, I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited about Webstor. So
awesome.
We'll see once we get them in hand.
Yes, so. And very excited to talk about this next character that is on the list. And this is one from your list. So tell us about this character here.
Beast Woman. All right, so she doesn't exist, and I think this is going to be a recurring theme in my wish list except for one figure. And because he's never, she's never been realized, obviously, in Masterverse plastic. Now, most Masters of the Universe action figure fans out there know artist Nate Barsh, who is, has this kind of Frank Frazetta style. Well, we don't know. We don't know if he's his wife. But he's been doing an amazing job with the box art lately, and the man is truly a talent and so gifted. And so his art on the Masterverse New Eternia Beastman, the picture on the left there, it was no different, right? It's a stunning piece of artwork. But what captured my interest was not Beastman, but that beast woman, perched up in the tree. And apparently I wasn't the only one, because this new character that Nate Barsh depicted garnered a whole lot of interest. So much so that Nate decided to design a new piece of art featuring only her. And what is really cool, if you look at her, is that, and this is for real old school fans, Nate bottled. That's the medicine.
There you go.
I got medicine brain. Nate modeled Beast Woman off of very famous actress. Beast Woman needs to be thing. Yeah. He modeled Beast Woman after actress Raquel Welch in her iconic pose from this very old movie called 1,000,000 Years BC, where Raquel Welch is in this like white, was it a white fur bikini, or maybe it was just brown fur bikini? And it was on the walls of young teenage boys everywhere, I guess in the 1960s. I wasn't alive, but it's a very famous pose, and that's what he modeled it after. But yeah, we need to see this realized in Masterverse, plastic. And with my headcanon, someone had asked if it's Beastman's wife. With my headcanon, Beast Woman is a queen. Because if you notice in Masters of the Universe Revelation, Beastman would follow the most assertive female voice in the room, and if it wasn't Evelyn, yes, my lady, it was Andra even, she tells Beastman to calm down and he listens, and he does. So Beastman sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly, would default, there you go, would default to the next strongest female. So maybe in Beastman's culture, maybe just maybe, the females are the queens, and it's the Beast women that lead the tribe, which
I like that.
Yeah.
There's so much canon floating around your head with this one. It's awesome.
I have a lot. Yeah, actually, when we go on the one character that has already been realized in plastic, I have nothing to say. But Beast Woman, yeah. So hopefully, so I shared her and Roy from Mattel, even like I tagged Mattel, right? Yeah. And so hopefully, and it got a lot of likes on Instagram and stuff like that. So hopefully, if they're not working on it already, maybe this will push them. I don't know. You never know.
Totally, yeah. Joshua Northcott was actually he was my first person that I met who recognized me from the show. I met him at PowerCon 2021. So it was really interesting. What's up? Yes, love the Beast Woman character, Nate, for the win. Yeah, I mean this character looks amazing, and it would be really interesting to see like maybe a little tribe built out in the Masterverse line, kind of like the Snake Man subline, right? It's like there's a whole race of these beasts, and you're right. This art totally kind of brings you to that headspace where you can imagine, like, when Beastman goes home, like he doesn't live in Castle Grayskull or Snake Mountain. He lives in the jungle with all of these beast people.
Yeah, and you can imagine like the on her shoulders would be real soft goods, real fur, right?
Yeah.
And maybe your outfit could be soft goods. Maybe, I don't know. That might be yeah, that might cause problems, wardrobe malfunctions.
Right.
But the yellow fur can be sculpted, and it's possible they can make her feet furry. You know, I don't know. So
yeah, they could do a lot with these, and I know that like the Origins line is really keen on, you know, the art teases and things like that, but I don't really see we don't really see that playing out in the Masterverse line, which I wish they would. I wish they would start doing that, because I think that would, you know, that would give a lot of credence. But if Nate, you know, drew this character on his own, like this could totally be either the back of a box art for this figure or the side panel.
wouldn't that be amazing when that like come full circle? Yeah, because he did this back. Well, you know, New Eternia Beastman was the middle of 2022, so
yeah,
you would just have to do one more, and that would be fantastic. You know, I was hoping she was going to appear in the Masterverse comics because they're tied in with these new Eternia figures, but no. Oh, is that spoiler? Well, issue 4's been out since Wednesday. No, she doesn't appear. So sorry for the spoiler, everybody.
It's all good.
Okay. Someone not appearing is not a spoiler, right?
No, okay. Not at all.
Okay.
Would be cool if she wore a gem that Beastman steals and he leaves the tribe, breaks her heart. Classic Beastman. So yeah, this is Giraffe's head canon for this character, but
yeah, sure.
really cool character that I hope they make. It'd be really interesting to kind of delve into the beast types of creatures in the Masterverse line.
Yeah, someone also pointed out to me this was a redo. The image on the left was a redo of something from a mini comic or something. It's a reinterpretation of old art. So
I think so.
I don't remember where it's from, but somewhere in the mini comics, I think. So
yes. Moving on to so yeah, I think people will notice in this list there's a few named characters, a lot of unnamed characters in here that, you know, have yet to be produced. But my next one is a named character, and I think it would be really interesting to see a Filmation style Mechanic, kind of akin to the way that they did Grizzlor in the Masterverse line. I think he has more of that Filmation inspired look to him, and I always thought Mechanic was a really, or sorry, Mantenna. Did I say Mantenna or Mechanic? Anyway.
You said Mechanic, then well, I think you're fine. Go ahead. Everyone sees the picture.
Filmation style Mechanic. I think just because he's a really Mantenna. He's a really kooky character. Jeez, I like it. I haven't had anything to drink today, nor am I on medication. So
yeah, I warned everyone about me. Look at you.
There's no excuse for me. I don't think my A&W Root Beer Zero is doing it, but maybe it is. But anyways, Mantenna would be a really interesting character, and I think it would be kind of cool to see how they would design that kind of 4-leg body, you know, to him, and just kind of what they would do with his upper body, if they would kind of do what the classics version did with eyes that just, you know, kind of slot in, or if they would have an action feature with his eyes popping out.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The classics was removable eyes that you could plug. Yeah, you had to unplug the face, right? Yeah, and then take the eyes out and then put the new eyes in and then plug back the face, because it had those like circular jaws, you know, and then tusks or something, or mandibles like a predator.
Yeah, he looked really like creepy and gross. Like he looked like he could just rip you apart with his like little mouthpiece that you could put in that had like the fangs. And it was really interesting the direction that they took with him.
Yeah, but I actually like this. This is a custom figure by Kevin. Yeah, so I really like this figure. And was he?
Yeah, so I actually included the box art here, and it's actually, you can see him in the corner here. You can see a little eyeball, and that attached to some body looking thing. So
good job bringing that up. I didn't remember that.
But
shame on me.
So I was saying, like, it'd be great if like Masterverse did these types of teases, but they don't.
You know, but I think you said you prefer the Filmation, or you would want a Filmation style. It seems like that's the only thing Masterverse can do, right? That's the only thing Mattel can do, because everything Princess of Power so far has been a Filmation style. You know, look at Grizzlor, right? So Well, then again, they did the regular style with Origins, so I don't know. Yeah, well, that was the vintage, but I do love the 4 legs. I know the vintage toy had the 2 legs that were
Yeah.
like
It was basically one leg that looked like 2 legs stuck together, basically.
Yeah, yeah. And no, but I really like this look. I like that. Be honest with you, I really love the classics look too. It had a
Yeah.
real horror kind of. I don't. I'll probably get into that in a moment. Spoiler alert! But I like filmation, the blending of filmation and horror, and so I like that classics figure. But yeah, I would love something like this. This looks terrific. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would love that on my shelf. And I don't need a stand. It's easy to it's easy to balance.
Yeah.
I tell you, someone was talking about this on our community forum. I was like, yeah. They were talking about how they like the CG Masterverse figures, but they just fall over, especially the Skeletor, from the new Netflix series.
I love those figures too, but yeah, so hard to pose and so hard to stay up.
Yeah, and I was reading this post. Who said that? Talent Fighter, I think, said that. When I was reading this post, I was like, yeah, with those figures, it's not really posing, it's balancing, unfortunately. You're basically balancing it so it stands, and then there it is, Oh, and then the Havoc staff, man. The Skeletor will not hold that Havoc staff up. No matter what you do, it just his hand goes and yeah.
It's that, and it's like if you actually end up balancing him, he's in such a weird pose where you have to arch his back so much to kind of give that center gravity shift so he can actually stand. But yeah, once you put his Havoc staff in there, all bets are off.
Yeah. But I love, and it's just like comments in here. I love that, comments or in my forum or your YouTube comments. And it looks great. It does. How people just come up with things that they get my brain going. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally.
Like from YouTube, Timmy, he probably watches you, and Mike.
Oh yeah, Timmy V.
Yeah, Timmy. Yeah, and Jay, and of course, and then Dora Lovely, and all these people are Griff, and yeah, they're just these guys have been watching.
Thank you, Guy.
Great. Yes, support Michael so he can get free figures.
Oh, geez.
So they can't ignore you, even though you have leaks.
Send them my way.
Yes.
Free figures would be nice. But yeah, Mantenna would be neat. I would love to see the Horde built out in the Masterverse line. So that includes, and also Leech was on this box too. So a Leech Masterverse figure would be insane.
Oh yeah, I really wonder how they would do that.
Yeah, I know. Very carefully.
Yeah.
But actually, Mantenna might set up a way for you to get this next figure on your list, which is
MOTU Lock. You remember the toy commercial? You go MOTU Lock, MOTU Lock, MOTU Lock, MOTU Lock.
That's a creepy commercial.
They just repeat, and that's the thing here. This is where I'm not going to have much to say. The creepy thing. I want the creepy thing. I want. Did you read the Masterverse comics at all? I
don't know.
Okay, so Michael, the first one, it's an anthology of new Eternia stories, and the first one has a horror story, and it features, it's issue 1, released months ago. It features Castle Grayskull Man. I don't think that's a spoiler, but but it has like horror. It uses these, Masters of the Universe characters are so versatile, and it used like Webstor was in it, and he was so horrific looking, and he shot like web around, was it Prince Adam's face or something like that? And it was really creepy looking. And I think that Masters of the Universe is so versatile, these characters. Yeah. That's what I'm hoping for, a deluxe module. So on the right here, this is, I guess, kind of a spoiler. Yeah, I guess it is a spoiler.
It's all right. All
right. On the right is a image from Masterverse issue 4, came out this past Wednesday, and it's Modulok. And you see how creepy and horrific he looks.
Yes.
And I really want them to play up the horror perspective here. On the left, you see the classics, and the classics is cool. I'm not knocking anyone with the classics, but the faces and its design just doesn't creep me out. I mean, this was always the freakiest character to me. I mean, more scary than Hordak, more scary than Skeletor, more scary than Webstor. Yeah, they do have a fantastic faction.
They do.
And what is Modulok? Body horror, right?
Yeah,
it's body horror. And I just really look, guys, Michael, everybody, New Eternia Too Bad, New Eternia Beast Man. I mean, they really ratcheted up, right? I want them to make a new Eternia Mega Modulok that looks creepy, that has maybe a little better looking proportion, but you could still just make some craziness out of it. Like maybe the limbs all don't have to come out from the shoulder, right? Maybe you can attach the lower limbs just a little lower, but just a little more balanced physically. But I want that face on the right. I want horror. I want I just want more horror in my MOTU. Yes, it is. Yep. You should run out. And I'm sorry for spoiling because there was no indication that Modulok was in the but I won't say what happens, but he's very cool in issue 4. So that's what I'm looking for, Michael. I'm looking for horror. I'm betting he'll be Filmation style though. You might be right.
Yeah. I think you can strike a good balance between like horror and Filmation. I mean, look at Grizzlor. Like the dude doesn't have any eyeballs, and it's like that subtle thing that they did can really like bring out and just make a figure that into something that is a little bit more horrific, a little bit more dead, per se. But
be honest with you, I think he was creepy looking in Filmation. Yeah. I mean, maybe not as much as on the right here from we see from the comic, but I did like the way he looked. He never appeared in 2000X, did he? No, but no, but he looked creepy and he looked more humanoid. And he was working on the additional head. I think he was going to put in the Filmation cartoon, he was going to put Man-at-Arm's brain, or not, or maybe literally brain, but suck whatever, either physically or with powers, put his brain, because he was always interested in Man-at-Arm's capabilities, right?
Yeah.
But he was creepy in Filmation, so I think you're right, Michael. I think there is a way to do it even in Filmation style to make maybe the best Modulok yet. I think we have the best Too Bad yet.
Yeah, agree.
I think we could have the best Modulok yet. I think, hopefully.
Totally. Bash Studios, the the evil horde are the things of children. Excuse me. In Eternia's nightmares that make them special for me. Yeah, I would not want to run into Modulok in my dreams or nightmares.
Yeah, and I think in Filmation, and this might mean we get a new Eternia one. I think in Filmation, obviously he wasn't evil horde yet. Filmation, when that started in '83, there was no evil horde.
Right.
So, and he wanted to become a evil minion for Skeletor, and Skeletor had a funny line. I don't remember what it was. It was like, "You're a dumb scientist and you're a dumb villain," or something like that, or useless. Or I'm getting the adjective wrong, but
right.
He, I think they actually could go New Eternia with right situation. This was created prior. This was created. Oh, geez, this was the Roboto episode. Yeah. This was the Roboto episode.
It's all coming back.
Yeah. So they could definitely make a new Eternia and make it a real creepy one. Yeah. So that's my wish. So.
I would love that. Actually, this is a good segue into the next figure, and this is going to start the deep cut list for me. And when I was putting together this list, I thought to myself, it would be amazing if they made an Axel Jimenez signature line where they had his concepts that never saw the light of day in the new Eternia line, or just a different subline in general. And this was another concept that Axel did that was held over from classics that never saw the light of day. And of course, this is somebody had made a custom of this, but the character is called Sawtooth. And according to the unofficial bio, Sawtooth was one of Skeletine's henchmen who was nursed back to health after the battle with the Galactic Guardians. Repairing his jaw, Sawtooth finally fought loyally beside Skeletine until he sacrificed himself, allowing Skeletine to escape Eternia. Now, I need some friends like that that would sacrifice themselves. But really interesting character, and there's so many of these designs that are floating around that Axel has done that have never seen the light of day. They've never seen plastic. And it's funny because when I saw the new Eternia line announced, my immediate thing I went to was, oh, they're going to start making these really obscure characters that are from classics or from the lore, but they're kind of basically before we knew that they were kind of concepts from known characters that were produced already. But I would love for them to make this figure.
That's interesting with the bio there, but that's all obviously this is
it's an unofficial fan made bio,
so that bio isn't from Axel.
No,
regarding both looks, the first, the anglerfish, that's what the real fish, right? With the the neon light where they lure like prey. That's a scary looking fish.
It is. Yeah. Speaking of horror, like this is like, you wouldn't want to come across this in your nightmares either.
Yeah, that fish looks like a nightmare, and it's only in the deep sea, and it lights like a ultra sawtooth. The thing is my brother's dreams. It's like for anyone who doesn't know the fish, it has like a luminescent antenna. And a luminescent end. You ever see those like deep underwater fish that they're all luminescent?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're really creepy looking too.
Yeah, and it lures like unsuspecting fish. They're like, "Ooh, bright light! Let me go to the light." And his face is like a bony kind of. Ooh, that would be like really creepy. So you prefer the shark version versus because these are two versions, right?
Yeah, they are two versions. The only custom I could find had that sawtooth, the helicorprion concept, which is again that's a real like prehistoric fish. So I love that one. Axel was kind of going back and actually making these accurate to what these fish actually look like.
So would you be okay with either one of these?
Oh, yeah, actually I do like the prehistoric one. I think just for the, for that, it looks like the teeth are cool, and also that kind of an antenna piece that's coming out of the top of his head too.
Yeah. The shark one here, the custom work is fantastic, and what a great job, what a talent. But I love the sketch better. I love the fin is higher and larger on the top of the head, and it's more of a drawn out face, and that jaw looks more menacing. So if they went the right side, I would want it more like, but this custom work is great. I got nothing but love for this. This is a fantastic figure, but this one I would like to see this more like the sketch would be just with that large fin on the top of the head. It looks like a shark fin, that would just come right out of the water, and it's like shark. But
I know. And also too, like the gills, and also like the neck collar and the armor, I think that was embellished a little on the custom, but it'd be neat to kind of see him a little bit more armored up, maybe a friend of Merman or something that they meet underwater somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting. I love all of the things that are sketched out here, just like the part reuse, right? And so you could see Mattel kind of piecing together with some of the Masterverse figures that they've revealed, like Buzz-Off forearms, Merman's boots and feet, and things like that. So you can kind of see how this figure could be pieced together with some of the Masterverse parts that they have already. And so that's the beauty of Mattel, right? They always find ways to reuse the tooling and reuse those parts. And it's really interesting because even though a lot of them are reused parts, they look like totally brand new figures and totally new characters and things like that. So I think that's what makes it special.
That's a good pick. It's a deep dive for sure.
Yes, I have a lot of those on here.
Stay tuned.
I know, stay tuned. But yeah, another figure that made your list was, I think, one that I would love to see this version, and also the whole line made. So why don't you tell everyone about this one?
Okay, Katra. First, I have to thank. Look, this figure, right? Was one I didn't know I wanted. you know, until I saw this design. It wasn't until one of our fantastic community members at Eternia.com, her name is Katra Applesauce Meow.
Love it.
I love it, but she's awesome, and she's the one that showed me this custom figure here of Katra from, you know, I'm sure everyone knows it's from the 2018 Netflix series She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Yep.
And the artist here, let's give him credit, Adam Crone, and I think this figure, guys, is absolutely brilliant. Oh, awesome, Allison. I think this figure is absolutely brilliant, and you know, it's adding the design sensibilities of Masterverse, and maybe it ages up the character, you know, just a bit from her animated counterpart, which to me makes this Catcher version just even better than before. And you know, and it's like this. I know there are people who love the Netflix 2018 She-Ra series, and I know there are others that did not. But this custom figure, this design is a great unifier, the great unifier, because when I shared this on social media and stuff, and to people I know, I heard more than enough. I didn't like the show, but I'd buy this figure. Or I didn't watch the show, but I'd buy this figure. So Mattel, take note, you know, and maybe it could even encourage new eyes to watch the series. So DreamWorks and Netflix, take note. I really think it's a fantastic. If they made a figure just like this, and you see there's alternate heads there, I would love it. Love it.
I would too. I really loved the DreamWorks series that they did in 2018, and they had, it was, you know, it's kind of like akin to that Masters of the Universe, you know, series that they were doing with the kids line too, the CGI line. It's like a really different take on the characters, which, you know, I really loved. And I think you're right. Like the Katra that's presented here is more of like Katra flash forward maybe 10 years from what her look was in the line. But I really love this look, and I really dig the alternate head sculpts, really fierce looking eyes, and just that expression on the face. I thought they did really, really well, and just kind of capturing that look from that cartoon series. And I really wish that they would have made a whole line from that cartoon series. So like this would be fantastic.
Where there were these like dolls, I don't know if I could call them dolls, but there was some action figure line.
Yeah,
they go for a lot of money now.
They do. That's
like 300.
I have not bought them.
Yeah, like $300 or $400 a figure. But yeah, I really hope, you know, Masterverse takes note. Adam Crone did make a She-Ra as well, but Katra, to me, it was the better design. And from those black claws, like take on it looks like a
mashup
of Squirrel Girl. Now, to be honest with you, though, I do want to caveat there might be a problem with the rights regarding this figure. I had Tim Seeley, the writer of the Masterverse Comics anthology series from Dark Horse, on our podcast, the Eternia podcast. And those comics are tied into the figures. And Tim believed, and let's caveat, and Tim caveated, he's not a legal expert, but Tim believed out of all of the sublines, the live action movie, Princess of Power, Rulers of the Sun, the only thing that Tim believed he would be restricted in the comics from using is She-Ra and the Princess of Power. That it was its own thing, apparently. And I think that may apply to the figures as well, unfortunately. And that's why I said DreamWorks and Netflix take note, because I think this figure to get more eyes on the show. So, but who knows?
Oh, I totally agree. I would love that. And, you know, I really hope they work something out where they can start producing these types of figures, because if they're making new Eternia versions of the He-Man animated like CGI Netflix series, it's like they could totally make animated versions of the She-Ra cartoon from 2018. So
Yeah,
this would, when I saw this on your list, I was like, yes, we're gonna have a really good show, y'all.
yeah, I'm glad you agree. So I wasn't sure if I threw it out there because some people, but then again, it was almost universal praise for the actual figure, not for the show, but for this figure. So this figure mends hearts. This figure brings people together. So
totally. Next figure on the list would tear people apart, but this is another one of my deep cuts, and this was also referenced in the Origins releases just around a card art tease. But I would love to see something like Vykron in the Masterverse line. He's a nod to the Viper Tower from the Eternia playset, which they said would scale with Masterverse figures. And I think a design for this particular Vykron, it was basically spec'd out to reuse parts from Snakeface and Lord Dactyls and Pravis, but he would need new armor and a new head, new neck piece. But I just think it's really like this whole figure is just kind of having a Viper Tower in a figure form. It's kind of like having like Castle Grayskull Man as a figure.
Yeah, and you know what? I like this one better than Castle Grayskull Man. No offense to, I know that was a fan creation. I think Castle Grayskull Man. No offense, great design, but to me,
no, they did it. They released him in classics too.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
The fan made. Yeah.
I didn't mean. I'm sorry, I didn't mean customs. Meaning
got it.
That the idea of Castle Grayskull was fan made, and I love that design. But to me, this is better. This is at least this is more up my alley. When you pick this one, I like this one. And I think he appeared in the mini comics, right? Did he have any relation to the actual tower itself? Do you know any of that mini comic story?
I don't know the mini comic lore. I just know that like this basically sketch is a nod to that one.
It's definitely the Viper Tower. You can see it with the chains, and it looks glorious. And but hey, Michael, you might not get Viper in Masterverse, but you might get him in Origins, right? Because who was on that Lady Slither packaging?
Yes,
or they say is on the artwork.
Yes, Vykron is going to be teased on the Lady Slither MOTU Origins Mattel Creations artwork. Yeah, like if I get this in Masterverse, if I get it in Origins, that's great. But I really think like these designs from classics, and I think I've said this before, I think really lend themselves to that Masterverse scale. And I think the way that the armor and the chains and just the whole look of him, I think would be very well done and well served in the Masterverse line. I'm sure that they'll make the Origins one really, really cool if they make it. But yeah, I think seeing all the detail and kind of what they would do with the armor, and especially that collar with the chains coming off, it's off the chain.
Now, what's the deal with the no, I love that humor. Dad jokes. What's that? What is that? A manta ray? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so this basically the little manta ray was inspired by the I guess that moat in that Eternia playset too. So that comes from that playset as well.
Wasn't there supposed to be there was supposed to be some sort of rug or something that came with Castle Grayskull? Is a nod that came with the Eternia? Not sure. Originally, Mark Taylor made like this big, what do they call it? Stygian something. I don't know, Stygian moat or something. But it was actually like a play mat that Castle Grayskull was supposed to stand on top, and it had all this like artwork that went around, and it was like it expanded the play area of Castle Grayskull. And I wonder if it was on that. I don't know. So
yeah, I think it's basically a nod to kind of the stuff that's in the Eternia playset, like the moat monster, right? That they had actually made into a figure. So I think it's either a molded piece or a sticker. I can't recall.
Okay. And we're gonna get Modi.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, another one of Axel's concepts that was held over from the classics line. And so I'm Mattel, if you're listening, make a signature series Axel subline that has these in Masterverse scale. Like, yes,
Yeah.
make them for Origins, make them for Masterverse, just make them.
You're going to need to tag Axel on this. You know, this is the Axel show.
I know, right? Totally. He's actually, yeah, he's really nice. We've chatted back and forth on Instagram a couple times, and you know, I think
That's
sometimes
awesome.
I'll send him videos that we've done that have his stuff in it, and he's really appreciative. So.
Isn't that amazing? By the way, I mean, and it's the whole Masters of the Universe crowd. You know, I mean, I've sort of chatted with almost everybody, and even with Revelation and stuff like that, except for Kevin Smith and stuff, and none of these guys have the blue check marks, you know, at Mattel or anything, and they're so nice and they're so sweet, and they'll answer your questions. I think it's because they're fans too. You know, it's not like they're just removed. They were one of us. You know, they played with this stuff just as much as we did.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Allison is a wealth of information, and so if we have any question, like, she is usually Jeanette on the spot with coming up with an answer, or just she has like something in her back pocket, so she knows a lot. The retro toy princess she is.
Well, her trademark stuff was terrific.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was the one that introduced me to that website where we can track all of that stuff, so thank you.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. So would love to see this one. Another figure that's next on the list made a brief appearance in the Revelation series. And who is this fine looking gentleman?
Pig Boy. You know, first look at this great custom figure by Joe Amaro.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the like Star Trek figure articulation, you know, like the old vintage ones, you know, that sort of straight and narrow and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if it'd be realized in that, but I needed to pick something from the 1980 the live action movie, and you know, Evelyn is also on my list as well. We've never gotten a true movie Evelyn. There's been some great custom figures of that, but how in the world did this little servant of Skeletor, you know, not be realized in Masterverse plastic? I mean, if anyone doesn't know the story, it's Richard Sponder. He played more chicken. Richard Sponder was the lucky contest winner. We had him on our podcast celebrating the 35th anniversary of Masters of the Universe, and you know, he's a lucky contest winner to appear in that film. You know, and you know, usually for a walk-on role, and usually if you're on a walk-on role, right, you're going to be like, you know, speaking of chicken, you know, you're going to be served by Courtney Cox, you're going to be served by Julie, you know, in the restaurant, and you're going to be, you know, customer number 3, and you get to see yourself. And that's usually what happens. You don't, as a young kid, become immortalized as an evil servant pig boy and get these facial appliances put on your face. I mean, they had to do a life mask. They had to put straws in his nose and his mouth so you could breathe. It's torturous. And I think it was because of the crazy schedule. And by the time they got Richard on set, they had done all the Earth scenes. And the only thing they had left to film was everything on the Castle Grayskull set, you know, that big stage. So they were forced to make him a creature. But how awesome is that? He was saying, as a kid, I was like, darn it, I wanted to see my face, you know, I wanted to be like a customer, you know, so you could see my face on screen and recognize me. But, you know, as he grew up, he realized, no, this is better. But how's this guy not realized in plastic yet? You know, especially after that scene stealing with Goatman.
I know, right? I was thinking a while ago when they appeared together, like, you know, I think releasing this in plastic on his own, you know, might not go, because like, or I guess they release Orko and He-Man, the Savage He-Man, in a 2-pack. It's like they could do a Goatman and Pig Boy 2-pack just to
absolutely. Yeah. Or if they wanted to even go to smalls, they could do him, and they could do Orko Reborn, Orko the White.
Yeah.
Which is another one high up on my list. And so, yeah, obviously he would need to be packaged with somebody, but come on, it's been 36 years since his debut. Now he's in Revelation. Can we just get him? I don't know. I'm hoping.
I know, right?
I'm hoping one day. I want that little guy on my shelf. I really do. I know some people might be like, there's so much better ones. Pick Panther. But, you know, this is more, again, you know, me picking figures that, and you too, that haven't been realized in plastic yet.
Yeah, and I agree with you. This custom is absolutely stunning. Like I can't like there's nothing wrong with it. And it's basically a direct translation from, what you might think would come from the movie and also the Revelation series too. Like, you could totally see this on the shelf.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just so brilliant. And I think there were some customs available at one time for sale. I love that Pig Boy ended up. Yeah, me too. I love the snorting. Orcon Reborn. Yeah, yeah. Right on, Allison. So I would love that. And so hopefully someone at Mattel, if you're watching, if you don't give us free figures, at least make this.
Right.
At least
put it on your short list.
Put it on your short list. Yes.
What is up, Brick Something? Brick
Hey,
Something
Brick.
is a fantastic YouTube channel as well. So go head over there, give him a sub, and watch his stuff. It's fantastic. So actually met Brick in real life. We live locally, and we went to a toy show a couple months ago. So
that's awesome. Yeah, Brick is another one. We were bringing up names and stuff like that, and Brick is so nice. And
Brick is great.
We chatted, and he's left me some great comments in some of my podcasts as well. And great. I love this community. Love this community. Now, I a couple of them, I did get some death threats for liking Revelation.
Oh, geez, yeah. You know what? We did too. Like like the most vicious comments come up when we've talked about Masters of the Universe Revelation. I really don't understand it. Like it's it's a series that, I always say collecting is personal. Like the things that you watch are personal. People may or may not like it, but there's no reason to go all out and just get so nasty.
Yeah. I got nothing but love for anyone, even if someone say, AJ, you stink, you're boring, you talk too much. Cool, but death threats, come on.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But
just for liking the show,
like talking too much is a good thing, I think, for this, because this is what we do.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, someone, and I appreciated the comment, he was like, constructive criticism, AJ, on your unboxing videos, you got to get to the figure quicker, and that's funny. And I'm like, I apologize. I said, look, this is just me. There's plenty of people that just go right to the figure, they unbox it and go right. It's just me. I talk about the artwork. I talk about maybe some story behind it, and that's just what I do.
I was watching your classics Merman, unboxing, and I actually really enjoyed a lot of the lead up to that. I mean, it's a recorded video, right? People can fast forward if they don't want to see.
That's true. I don't put chapters though. Maybe I should put chapters.
No. People can follow along and scrub and see when the figure comes out. But yeah, no reason for that. But
anyway. So Pig Boy, give us Pig Boy.
Yeah, please give us Pig Boy. Next one coming up is going to be a really interesting, bizarre character on my list. I just think he looks so freaking cool, and it's Mistletoe. And Mistletoe was one of, according to like unofficial bios and lore, one of the evil warriors assembled by Skeletine and Evil Lyn on the Moon of Doom. I love that. Or sorry, the Moon of Droom. So he had fought with the Unnamed One in the third Ultimate Battleground. So like, this one is so bizarre. Again, another one of Axel's concepts that never made it into plastic, although this is a really amazing custom that looks pretty much exactly like Axel's sketches. But he's funny enough, he's in the book, like the characters of the Masters of the Universe, and that was basically how the characters, or how his description read in that book. And yeah, really, really amazing figure. And I think one of the things to point out too is like it's a figure that doesn't have a neck joint. It would have a ball joint basically coming out of the chest, so you can plug the head into, which I think is really super cool.
Do you think it would rotate? Maybe.
Oh yeah, it'd have to rotate. not the really weird rotation that you have to do with Manny Faces and put his gun on his head, which I thought was strange. But yeah, you could see like there's a lot of part reuse here. They would you know, could use the Horde Trooper, you know, at the bottom basically, and some of the other parts. But
all right, I got a bone to pick with this figure. If your name is Mistletoe, you need to be able to shoot missiles from your feet. I'm sorry. I mean, there should be a rocket launcher at least near the foot, or at the you know, where the toes would be, right?
Yeah.
But out of all the missile launchers he has, it's nowhere to be seen. But I guess Mistletoe is a play like Christmas tree. He does look like a Christmas tree.
I know, right?
He does. He does have that Christmas feel to him. Maybe if he has he's got a little red there.
That's funny.
Yeah. I don't know. It's so funny. I would prefer missiles at his feet, just to claim the mistletoe, but I like this choice. I mean, it is so out there, but then again, so is MOTU sometimes.
Yeah. You know, I think this is basically what I envisioned the new Eternia line to be like, was figures like this. And so if they continue the new Eternia line, maybe they make a different subline so they can start making these figures. But yeah, it's really interesting because you don't see a sketch or anything to do with the back of the figure. So like the customizer took some liberties to say like, okay, here's what the back of the figure would look like. But yeah, it kind of looks to me that he's got just like a rack of 12 missiles that are just ready to launch out of the back piece there too.
I wonder if that comes off. It almost looks like, no, maybe not. Yeah, it's definitely cool looking.
Yeah, I was thinking too, like the turret, like top of it, you know, they could maybe use like Manny Face's like bucket helmet, you know, to kind of provide some of the sculpting for that too. But
if you look at the locations of his shoulders, though, at least on the custom, his head is really low. I actually, if I look at the art, okay, he's just hunched over. If I look at the actual artwork from Axel, okay, I was thinking, is his head coming from his chest? But no, he's just hunched over, and he's wearing this huge thing like a hunchback.
Yeah, and actually the in the little description up here, they would actually have to put that like a plug on his chest for his head to pop on. So I think so. But I don't know. This is like, I think this is, out of all of the concepts that Axel has made, this would be one of the top ones that I would want to be made into a figure.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. I would have never guessed.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many, and yeah, I think too, like, I don't think we've had a figure also just with like a pitch black body too, like the muscles and like the leg muscles, like everything. I really love everything about this character, like the color scheme. And just how bizarre it looks. It's kind of like the Tank Man or whatever, the tank character from Vikron, right? It's like,
but better.
Yes, but so much better.
Yeah, it'd be neat if something like this showed up in Revolution, you know, just like even in the background, right? Because we got Buzz Off and Stratovus. Well, they didn't have any speaking lines, did they? No. Or even Webstor. He didn't have any speaking lines in Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Yeah, Allison is also, she always thinks about tooling as well, and so it's actually really great to have her as a resource, because, you know, and also a friend, because she comes up with all of these amazing things, and it's like she just comes up with this like off the top of her head too. It's like, okay, Manny Faces, Horde Trooper waist and legs, revolving missiles would be new. Yeah,
that's awesome. I never think that way. I don't have like an engineering type of brain. Just make it. You know?
I don't either. Yeah, it's like, no clue.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, I try to, you know, sometimes it detects stuff. Like I noticed Faker's shoulders was the same as Triclops shoulders, and obviously we all could tell that Beastman and Mossman, you know, had the same head sculpt. But regarding really putting one together, I wouldn't be good at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brick loves this guy. We love you, Brick. So it all works.
We need a Brick figure.
Oh, totally. Yeah, we totally do. Yeah, I wonder if he's made a selfie series figure of him from Hasbro. Awesome. All right. Moving on to the last figure, or shall I say creature on the list.
Yeah. Yep.
We got this beast.
Yes. Now this was another one that I didn't know I wanted. in the Masterverse line until I saw this great custom work by Eddie Grace. And its official name is Battle Dog. And according to the art book and the Powerhouse animation model sheets. And it appears Eddie here took a Masters of the Universe Revelation Battle Cat and gave it an entirely new head sculpt and sculpted fur and spiked armor. There you go. And entirely new paint job. And to me, the colors just pop here. I love the shades of purple against the orange and the white. And I just find it amazing to look at. And I would love to have it on my shelf. Now, to me, I don't like the name Battle Dog because he's not a dog, right?
Right.
I prefer Battle Beast, but other than the name, I just love this Beast Dog. Yeah. So I just love this conception so much that I'm like, I want this. I didn't know I wanted it, and now that I see it, I want it.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I'd never seen this before you had shown me this, and like I want this too. Like I definitely agree. Like the colors are fantastic, and just like the way that the face sculpt is handled with the the kind of elongated teeth kind of bulge, like you can see them just kind of bulging out of the mouth there, and it's like it's not a clean, like the mouth isn't clean on the side. Like you can really see like the tusks or the canines just kind of coming out of the mouth there. And I think it's really cool because it also gives a nod to Beastman, which you can kind of see in this particular creature.
And on a side note, the dichotomy, right, between man and beast is interesting to me here because we know that Adam turns into, or what Adam turns into with the power, and we know what Cringer turns into with the power. And I find it interesting that Beastman, being both a mix of man and beast, that his final form would be more beast. Now, I know in Masters of the Universe Revelation, he says, "Today I am beast," but would he be this way all the time anyway if he had the power? Perhaps. And I don't know. Maybe it's why he's so submissive in the show. Beastman is domesticated. But regardless, it's cool, and I love this final form of him. So
yeah, could you imagine like a character riding on this particular creature? I noticed that like there is no saddle for somebody to ride on, but maybe that's the thing. Maybe this is not a creature that you can ride. This is just an alternate form.
I don't know the decision behind it, but in the Masters of the Universe Revelation art book, there were designs with a saddle as well. And they decided to eliminate the saddle. And I don't know what the thought process was, but he did have a saddle for a little while. So maybe Dark Lyn could have ridden him, which would have been really a wild sight.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the saddles hide a lot of detail. So it's like I like the way that this custom is designed, at least with you can see the armor on the back and you can see the mane. And so I think a saddle would have hindered a lot of that.
Yeah. And anyway, if you think about it, if they actually realize this figure, I love the Revelation Battle Cat, but he is a little wide to mount for the regular Masterverse figures, so maybe it wouldn't be feasible anyway. And so there's no need to have a saddle because you'd just be disappointed trying to get any figure on top of it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Dark Lyn could straddle it. She's bigger than, I don't know, but it looks terrific, I think. So
yeah, I think it looks great. Yeah, I think they really nailed the orange color too on this one. I think it's hard.
Just like this, just like the pig boy, I want it just like this.
Yeah. Could you imagine like a removable helmet? Some of the armor pieces might come off, so you might be able to like strip them down.
That'd be awesome. And just the posing you could do, because Battle Cat is really posable, and you can even put him on his hind legs. You know, I have him on his hind legs back here. I just love it, and so that's why it's so surprising. Not that I don't love Vikron, but it's so surprising that we're getting Vikron. Well, like, there's so much stuff you can do.
Yes,
you know, that didn't get torn in half.
Yeah. That's funny. I guess in the Origins line, you can take the figures apart at the waist, and so maybe that would have been a great nod to Vikron's gruesome end. You know, making Origins, you can just recreate that scene yourself all the time.
That's true. I just assumed he was down the seam, you know, from crotch to head, but it could have been the other way. He was.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you could have pulled his hands apart.
Yeah, you could have gotten your Gygor from your classics and just posed it.
Oh, so here's Allison thinking again. It's a really solid design. Here's how you can get into transforming figures, Mattel. So yeah, maybe this could transform into from a Beastman into Battlebug.
And Panther, Mattel.
Oh yeah,
we need a Panther, please, because I'm afraid Panther Mondo is coming out, and that's going to be a lot of money.
I know.
Whenever that comes for pre-order.
I've always wondered, like, typically when a series comes out, they usually have figures to accompany the release of the series. So this happened when the first Revelation dropped. We got that, you know, we got Skelegod, and we got the 4, you know, Masters of the Universe figures that kicked off the Revelation series, but didn't really happen for part 2. And I really want something to happen where they start making some of the figures that might appear in the Revolution series ahead of when the actual cartoon comes out, or the animated series.
Well, I was with part 1 when it first debuted. We got the figures in June, so we did get them early, and Skelegod was a spoiler. You know, we didn't know yet that Skeletor was going to get the power, so that was a pretty bad spoiler.
Yes,
I think we did get a little ahead of time. We got Savage He-Man, Michael, I think.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Before part 2. Right. Yeah, so that was a spoiler that was going to happen. So that's why I like, hopefully we can talk about this. Skeletech. Can I talk about Skeletech?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Well, I don't know anymore. I don't know. Mattel's coming down on people. That's why I like Skeletech. Looks like going to be the first wave of Revolution. Because Skeletech, even if it's a different design, it's not much of a spoiler. We saw the ending of Masters of the Universe Revelation, where Skeletor is being infected by Motherboard and the Technovirus. So we know there was some sort of transformation occurring. So even if we didn't see the final form, and we're going to get the final form, we know we're going to see this in the first few minutes of episode 1, right? Because I believe Tiffany Smith, who played Andra, said on Netflix Geek Week, when she announced Masters of the Universe Revolution, the sequel, she said, maybe we shouldn't take her literally, but she said it's going to take place immediately where it left off. And immediately where it left off was Motherboard affecting Skeletor. So I don't think so. I like this. So it's not really much of a spoiler. It's not like, you know, Skelegod was the end, right? Of Masters of the Universe Revelation Part 1. It was episode 5. So what a huge spoiler.
That was huge.
Yeah. So at least this one kind of, so I like that. I like it. It's not spoiling too much, or it shouldn't be, right? Based on
no. And I think, you know, I think people that, you know, visit your site, my site, our channels, like, they already know this figure is on the way, and like, what a gift from your community to like give us this information. So like, I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was there was, I don't want to get into it, but there was a lot of heat afterwards.
Oh really?
Yeah, unfortunately. Sorry. No, that's okay. But it was great news. You know, it comes from a good place.
Yeah.
Michael, you're the king of scoops, and it's not because you want to. You bring this out because you're so excited to share with people. You know, and I don't think many people come out at you and say, "This was a spoiler, man. I wanted this to be announced later." You know, I mean,
no, I think out of like the bazillions of comments that I've seen on all the stuff that we've leaked, I think there's one person that said, like, I just want to, I don't want to know ahead of time. And you know, That's fine. Like,
okay.
I guess, you know, we do this with movies, like you don't want to know the plot and things like that. But I think it's fine with action figures. And I think some of this is probably known already. And it's just, you know, us either finding hints or clues about it, or somebody just directly telling us that, you know, has an inside source, you know, that works in the toy industry.
I have hid some spoilers with figures. It's less so, but with stuff with narratives, obviously TV shows and comics, I've hidden stuff. Like when the comic covers first came out for Masterverse issue 4, the comics had He-Force and the characters from the Netflix kid show, the CG show, and they were on the covers, and we didn't know they were coming in these stories because it's an anthology. It's a new story after a new story after a new story. So it was a spoiler alert. So I hid them behind some sort of creepy medicine, some sort of different banner, you know, and said spoilers if you watch this video, or spoilers. And then once you go in the article. So yeah, with stories, you have to be more careful. You don't want to spoil people's fun, enjoying the journey. But with figures, I mean, what's the difference?
I know, right?
Yeah. You know, I mean, you let us know Vykron might be coming, what, 2 weeks early? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, could theorize, they'll probably use the He-Man, you know, the He-Man buck that they've have probably a million sitting in the warehouse because they haven't sold any of those particular figures. So they're like, how can we dump all these He-Man bucks that we have?
I know what we could do when it's Origins. We can make Skeletor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they do it all the time. It's like, and I think Allison was saying too, Cosmic He-Man was also teased in a comic coming up, which is yet another repaint of He-Man in the Origins line that they could make. So it's like they're going to milk it for whatever they can, and we're going to buy it because I'm like, oh, I have a nice wall of Mattel Creations figures. I can't have one that's missing.
Well, you know what? And I know we're wrapping up soon, but with Skeletor, I mean, I realized I'm part of the problem, but that thing was just lackluster effort with Skeletor. You know, all he needed was a little white paint in the hair. If you look at the comics, Masters of the Multiverse, he had a couple white streaks, and all he needed was that battle harness with bones. You know, and that's all he needed, a different battle harness and white streaks in the hair, and it didn't even get that. And immediately I saw like people posting on social media, they're opening their Skeletor figures and they're immediately painting and customizing. I'm like, something's wrong with this, where the fans are putting white in the hair. You know, just a white little streak. It could have even been sloppy because it's just a little bit of white streaks in the hair. There's something wrong that we're just buying this up and Mattel's not doing this for us. Something so simple like that, you know?
Totally. Look at this. We have the Toy Sorceress dropping a comment from the mountains. It is her and Mr. Toy Sorceress celebrating their 16th year anniversary. It's so amazing.
We saw you with Grizzlor. That's awesome.
I know. She was sending me pictures this morning and I was like, I have to put these in the stream today. And she was like, it's a Yeti.
Hi. And Toy Sorceress, let us know whose list was better.
She's not going to be biased or anything.
She's going to pick you.
No.
You guys are partners.
It's okay.
That's
all right. I can take it. I come from my day job industry where we have to have thick skin. So
that's good. That's good.
Yes. Happy anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Toy Sorcerers.
Awesome. Thank you for letting me fill in your spot, Toy Sorceress. So, or thank you to Michael, and well, thank you both.
Oh, of course. You know, AJ, it was amazing, and you know, I'm so excited and so happy that you know we could do this, and you know, we have a good relationship. The MOTU community is tight, and I just really appreciate you coming on and you know just sharing your list and just cooking this up with me. So.
No, I appreciate that too, and I shared this on my YouTube channel, and I said, you know, come watch me on Michael's channel, watch me embarrass myself, and so hopefully I haven't done that, you know, unless maybe some people are disappointed if I haven't done it. They're waiting for me to do something goofy, but hopefully I haven't been too embarrassing.
No, my gosh, you've been great. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and you know, I think like the way that you think, you know, makes me think of different things. And, you know, just, I think it's all about the MOTU community coming together, which I think we have a great fan base. We have a great, you know, a lot of people in the community are so freaking amazing, minus those, you know, other couple that are pot stirrers, you know, in these things, but it's all good.
I got nothing but love for anybody. You know, I'm just gonna say that. So,
of course,
don't want to criticize.
Yes, everybody is wishing the Toy Sorceress a happy anniversary. And AJ, let us, you know, let our viewers know like where they can find you, and you know, kind of where they can find you online, on YouTube, on your social media, before we conclude.
Well, everyone could find me on Preternia.com. I do have an Instagram page and Twitter page, or Twitter account, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And a Facebook group and a Facebook and a YouTube channel, Preternia Official. So if you want to find links to that account, all you have to do is go to Preternia.com and clink, just clink on any news article. And at the bottom of every news article, you'll see the YouTube link, you'll see Instagram, you'll see all the social media links there. So just come by at Preternia.com and, you know, and visit Toy Habits as well, as you usually do. So we actually have sometimes intersecting news, but I'm also, Michael handles a lot of the origins, and he handles also non-MOTU stuff, which I don't do. And then I handle a lot of also some comic stuff and, you know, non-related to action figures that Michael might not handle. So, so with both of us, you get well-rounded.
Yes. Yeah. And I think too, just like, I think the, you know, at least from the community's perspective, like people like to hear different opinions. Like you and I are not going to be like, even if we have the same figure, we're not going to have the same take on it, or we're not going to have the same take on, you know, what we would love to see coming down the line. So I think it's about just listening to perspectives and just enjoying the discussion. Like I've thoroughly enjoyed this stream. So
different perspectives are great. You know, I mean, I'm sure we're going to turn this off and then you're going to say, missiles shooting from his feet on mistletoe. What was
no, like I was like, I totally didn't think about that, and I was like, it's staring you right in the face, right?
Yeah. If he says missile and toe, you got to do something with the toe.
But it's because it's Masters of the Universe. They do that stuff like strong arm, right, or strong board,
or fisto, right?
Right.
Yeah, or at least have like individual toe missiles, right?
Yeah,
they don't have to come out, but
it'll be like the Mandalorian, right? He's got missile, or Boba Fett missile shooting out of his knees and stuff like that.
There you go.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, AJ, and definitely happy anniversary to the Toy Sorceress.
Yes.
You know, my partner in crime, you know, she is amazing and works her ass off, and you know, she provides a lot of great perspectives, and you know, thoroughly enjoy having her to work with. And you know, it's actually nice that she gets to take a break this weekend too, and everybody needs a break.
I was happy to fill in, and thank you for having me, and thank you everybody for watching. And I love seeing you people, and I know great community.
Oh yeah, it's a fabulous community, and we hope that everybody has a fantastic rest of their weekend. I did drop a little post in our member community section just saying that we need to reschedule that after party, just because the Toy Sorceress is out frolicking in Trala. So we will do that at some point. But anyways, love this community. Thank you so much, AJ, for coming on, and we will see you next week on our regular live stream. All right, take care, everyone.
Bye all.